Everyone. Today we're going to be doing lesson 813, which is called Many Names for Numbers. So today, students will find equivalent names for numbers. So one of our important vocabulary words today is equivalent name. So think about that as we get into your math message for today. So let's go into your screen and let's go ahead and click on the math message for today. Okay, here it is. For your math message today, you are going to write as many names as you can for the number 6 3/4 right here. Whoops, 6 3/4. So what does 6 3/4 mean? Well, it means I have 6 whole of something and 3/4 of another. So I want you to try to use the 4 operations if you can. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and what you know about fractions and decimals to try to come up with some different names. So what I think I'm going to do is just start a little chart, and I'm going to write 6 3/4 at the top. 6 3/4. Because this is my target number. And what I'm going to be doing is trying to find equivalent names. So I want equivalent names for 6 3/4. So that was one of our vocabulary words. What does the term equivalent names even mean? Well, think about it. What does equivalent mean? Well, equivalent name means different ways to represent or express the same number. It may include numbers, operations, words, or even symbols. So why don't you go ahead and try it? Come up with different names, as many as you can, that are equivalent to 6 3/4. I'm going to go ahead with my answers. So if you're not ready to see the answers, pause the program here and try to figure some out for yourself. Maybe you'll come up with the same ones that I come up with. So go ahead and try that now. Okay, so hopefully you gave yourself a chance to do that. And I'm going to list a few also. So I'm going to I'll start with an addition one. And I'm just going to use a text box under here. And for my addition one, I was thinking of how we used to decompose numbers. Why you pull the number apart, the whole number, the fraction, and then once we put them back together, we arrive at that answer, 6 3/4. So I thought of maybe doing 3 1/4 plus 3 2/4. And if I put those together, I end up with, let's see, I add my whole numbers, 3 plus 3, and that gives me 6. And I add my numerators only, 1 plus 2, and that gives me 3. And I leave my denominator the same. So that gives me 6 3/4. I also thought of a way to do this by using subtraction. And one that I came up with was 8 5/4 minus 2 2/4. So I'm going to subtract my whole numbers. 8 minus 2 gives me 6, 6 whole. And if I subtract my numerators, 5 minus 2 gives me 3, and I can leave my denominator the same, 6 3/4, again, as my answer. And then I did a multiplication example. And I was thinking of something that we learned recently, which was multiplying a whole number times a mixed number. So I thought of doing 3 times 2 1/4 And that gives me, let's see, when we multiply our whole number times a mixed number, we multiply the whole number times the whole number, and then the whole number times the fraction. So if I do whole number times whole number, that gives me 6. And if I multiply my whole number times my fraction, that gives me 3/4. So these are the three that I came up with. There are plenty more. You may have gotten some of the same ones, or you could have gotten some different ones because there are many names for numbers. So just keep in mind that what we did was find equivalent names for numbers. That's what all of these are. Those are all equivalent names for 6 3/4. So in this lesson today, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to apply our understanding of equivalent names for numbers to solve name collection boxes and then maybe play a game. So this is sort of set up the way you're going to see your name collection boxes in today's lesson. You're going to have a target number up at the top, and then in the different sections below, you're going to be writing other names for that number. So let's go ahead and let's try an example together. So I'm going to go back into mine and we'll do an example before you get into doing your own. All right. So again, we're reviewing the idea that numbers have many names. So you're going to have some large numbers. And the purpose of having these large numbers is so you can do different things with them. I can add two numbers together to get this number. I can subtract two numbers to arrive at this number. I can divide numbers to arrive at this and multiply. So that number is large enough to be able to do all of those things. You're also going to have numbers that look like this. So I want you to go ahead before I do this, and I want you to try to come up with some for this number, 3,256. And again, try to come up with an addition, subtraction, maybe a multiplication and division. So what I'm going to do is go ahead with the results. And again, there are many different ways and you can do this. I'm going to show you the ways that I did it. So why don't you go and try it on your own first? So pause the program and try it. And then when you're ready, unpause the program so you can see the result. So go ahead and do that now. Okay, so here's some things that I came up with. I started with an addition problem, and I wanted to arrive at 3,256. So in order to get that, I actually did the opposite. I did some subtracting to come up with it. And I did 272 plus 2,984. Do you have any idea how I came up with this? I had to use my 3,256 some way to do that. All right, the next one I did was a subtraction problem. And again, I had to use my 3,256 in my thinking also. I did 6,222 minus 2,966. If I subtract these two numbers, I will arrive at this one. And again, I had to use this one too, and addition somehow, to arrive at this number and make sure everything worked like a puzzle. And then I did the same thing when I did a multiplication problem. And let's see, these two go together. Addition and subtraction, they go together. You can get to some answers by using the opposite operation, and it works the same way with multiplication and division. So for a multiplication number sentence, I came up with 814 times 4. 814 times 4 will give me 3,256. Do you know how I know that? Because I divided. I divided 3,256. I decided to divide it by 4. And this is what I got because I know that I can check a division problem by multiplying. And then I went ahead and I did a division problem. Okay, let me get this box where I want it. I came up with 26,048 divided by 8. And that equals 3,256. Well, how in the world did I know that? Well, I decided to use the opposite operation and do, all right, 3,256 times 8. And this is what I got. So I know to undo that, I divide. So again, these two go together. So if you weren't really sure how to do it, that's my explanation on how I got mine. So maybe you want to go back and try to do yours again. All right, so let's see. Now for the next one, we have our decimal number. And my decimal number is 4 and 38 hundredths. Remember, it's not 4.38. So I can write another name for this, and I can even write using words. I can write what I just said. I can write 4 and 38 hundredths. And remember, when we write the word hundredths, we write the full word hundred and then a THS. 4 and 38 hundredths. I also know that, let's say, if this was money, I know how much money that is. So this is also an option of something you can do when you see problems like this. I know that this is also $4 and 38 cents. I can do that also. I can do some addition. I can add some either decimal amounts or fraction amounts together. I can add, let's see, 3 and 26 hundredths plus 1 and 12 hundredths, which will also equal 4 and 38 hundredths. It's just written as fractions. 3 plus 1 is 4, and 26 plus 12 gives me 38, and then I leave my hundredths the same. Let's see, I can do a subtraction. And for subtraction, I'm going to say, okay, I want to end up with 4 as my whole. I can do, let's see, I can do 16 minus 11 and 62 hundredths. And to see how I did that one, you would have to set that up vertically and show your regrouping. So here's just a few examples of what you can do when you see those kinds of problems. And again, you can go back and check this out as many times as you need to. So let's see some of the kind of problems that you're going to be doing today. So I'm going to go back to your main screen. We did the math message, and then you're going to do many names for numbers. And you're going to have problems. This is your name collection box. You're going to have problems just like the ones we did. So this is one of those larger numbers. Then, of course, you're going to have a mixed number in there. 100, you should come up with so many for that. That's actually one of our easier numbers. 5 and 14 hundredths, so very similar to the one that we just did. And then you can make up 2 of your own. All right, so let's go back. And you can do your math boxes for today. You're going to have 5 math boxes. Your home link for today. And notice your home link is going to look just like what we did in class. And you're going to get to make up some of your own as well. And let's see what else is in here. Then you've got 3 different activities here. And in the beginning, I told you might get a chance to play a game today. And there is a game called a broken calculator. And it's just what it sounds like. Imagine that you have a calculator, but one of the keys on your calculator is broken, yet you're somehow going to have to arrive at a certain answer. So it's a pretty cool game. It's going to take a lot of thinking. But I know there's students out there who love a challenge. So for this one, you need your Math Masters, which is provided for you, and that's on the next page. You'll need a calculator, and you'll need some number cards also, which you can just make. You can just make them on a piece of paper or using index cards if you have those at home. Here's another game that you can play, reaching target numbers. All you need is paper. Let's see. And here's one more activity with that broken calculator dilemma. And again, it's kind of like a puzzle, but it's going to challenge your brain, but it's good for us to challenge our brains. So again, boys and girls, that's what we did today. We did our many names for numbers and equivalent names for numbers. So good luck with that, boys and girls. And remember, if you're having a hard time, you can always go do your Sketchpad activities, or you can watch those tutorial videos to help you. So good luck with this, boys and girls. Bye-bye.